Hi everyone, welcome to the Piano Keys. I'm so glad that you're here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the glissando. What is it? What does it look like on sheet music? And how to play it without leaving a trail of blood on the keyboard. If you're new here, I'm so glad to have you. My name is Marina, and I use this channel to reach people all over the world who want a high-quality music education without years of lessons. And I have my assistant Elvis to make sure that we keep things cute around here. So what's a glissando? Well, it's basically a slide up or a slide down between two notes. And it's a continuous slide, so there are no skips. It just bloop, all the way up or bloop, down. Glissando is an Italian word, and the plural of glissando in Italian would be glissandi. But if we're speaking English, lots of times we just say glissandos, and nobody really seems to care. Sometimes we'll even call it gliss for short. Even though it's an Italian word, it actually comes from the French word glisser, which means to glide. Okay, so how do you know when to play a glissando? Well, if you're looking at written sheet music, there are several clues. One of them is you'll see the word glissando. You might see a wavy line, or you might see a straight line with the word glissando or just gliss written in. There will be a starting note and an ending note. So the glissando will either start at a note and go up, or start at another note and go down. Every once in a while, a glissando will start with a chord and end with a chord, or start with a chord and end with a single note, or start with a note and end in a chord. Now, if you're not playing from sheet music, you can choose to use a glissando whenever you want to add some extra pizzazz, or just to get from the low part to the high part of the keyboard, or from the high part to the low part of the keyboard in like a fancy way. But the thing is, don't overdo it. Adding glissandos to music is very similar to adding salt to food. With a little bit of salt, or the right amount of salt, the food tastes really good, but you overdo the salt and you can't actually eat it. So it's the same thing in music. A few glissandos or glissandi here and there, great. Glissandos every 2 seconds, no. Glissandos can be on white keys or they can be on black keys, but they cannot be on both white and black keys. And you'll see why when we go to the piano in a minute. The funny thing about glissandos is that they look really flashy and impressive, but they are one of the easiest things to do on the piano. The hardest thing about glissando might be starting and ending on the exact notes that you want to start and end on. Another hard thing about glissandos is to play it in such a way that you don't hurt yourself. The way you play a glissando, so a glissando technique, is very personal. Everybody will have their own way that feels right to them. But basically you want to make sure that you don't hurt yourself or the piano or the keyboard that you're playing. Also, depending on if you're playing an acoustic piano or a digital keyboard or even an organ, they're going to feel different under your hands, and they're going to respond differently to how you play the glissandi. So you'll want to experiment depending on the instrument that you'll be playing on. So let's go to the piano and I'll show you different ways to play the glissando. So how do we play glissando? Well, there's probably as many different ways as there are people. Everybody has their own preferences, but there are a few rules to keep in mind. The number one rule is don't hurt yourself. Okay? So whatever you do, don't leave a trail of blood or, rip off a fingernail or anything like that on the piano. Have I ever done it? Yes. I've left a trail of blood one time in my entire life, and I will never do it again because I learned my lesson. The second rule is don't hurt the piano or the keyboard. So once those two rules are kept in mind, everything else is just kind of open to whatever feels good for you. Now remember that you cannot do a glissando between white keys and black keys because that's just playing a scale. That's playing a chromatic scale. So you can only have glissandos on white keys or on black keys, but not on both. If you have a glissando that needs to start on a certain note and end on a certain note, then you'll have to practice aiming for those. But for now, I'm just going to show you different options of how you can play glissandos going up and down with each hand on white keys and on black keys. So let's start with the right hand. There are a few ways that you can do it. You will probably have to build up a little bit of pain tolerance at first, I guess. Or it's not even so much pain as just, you know, a different feeling on your fingers. If it really hurts, don't do it. You know, find a different way. But if it's just a little uncomfortable, you might have to build up a little bit of I don't want to say callus because it's not a callus, just like a desensitization, I guess. All right, so let's pretend I'm going to start on A and go to C. So if I'm going up, I have a few options. I can use one finger, my third finger, and I'm using the nail because obviously the nail is really hard. It's much harder than my skin. So I would play and I would keep my hand at like I guess like a 40-degree angle. Maybe 45-degree angle. You don't want to be completely flat because then you're using your whole hand, and you don't want to be up and down because that's hard to move. So you'll have to find your own angle. A to C, A to C. So I'm using third finger, but also fourth finger is kind of coming along for the ride, and I'm making them very straight. You don't want to make them curvy. So straight. You can also use fingers 2 and 3. Try finger 2 by itself. If you're on a digital keyboard like I am, it's a lot easier to go slow and play it because all you're doing is, when you're playing a digital keyboard, there's no lever action like there is on an acoustic piano. So you can go slow and the keys are going to sound. If you try to do that on an acoustic piano, it might not work because the levers won't be going, they won't be moving the hammers quickly enough. Okay, so you'll have to try on your own instrument. You might do what I'm doing now, which is leave bits of nail polish on the piano. That happens. Okay, so again, find your own second finger, 2 fingers, 2 and 3. You can try 3 fingers, 2, 3, and 4. I would not recommend 4 fingers, it's just too overkill. Maybe try 3 and 4, 2 and 3, whatever works for you. Okay, so you'll have to do a little bit of experimenting. If you're going a long way up, let's say you're starting at this A and ending on this C. So you have to practice, depending on what you're playing, you have to practice getting to your starting note and ending on your stopping note. Okay? So that's going up. Sometimes people play, especially if you're playing jazz organ. So on the organ, the keys are easier to press down, and they're shaped slightly differently on the edges. Sometimes, you know, you'll see this sort of thing with your thumb. That works too. It works on piano as well. And that's really good because when you get there, you'll have, you know, your fingers ready to go. Whereas if you're doing this, you'll have to figure out where you're going. See how here my fingers have to stop what they're doing and go to their next note? If I'm just using my thumb like this, then my fingers are ready to go already. So that's another thing you can do. You can use your thumb. Can you use your knuckles? I guess. If it feels good for you, do it. To me, that does not feel good at all. What else can we do? So when you're using your thumb, you can go up and down like that, but you see how I'm getting caught on the keys? So it's more of like a flat, like you're using this part of your thumb. Okay? Like that. All right, so experiment for yourself and see what works for you. Now, if you're going down on the white keys, I like to use this part of my second finger, basically the first 2 joints, and I go like that. But I strengthen my second finger by kind of pressing my third finger against it, and I make this shape with my hand. Get my thumb out of the way. So I play my note. Let's say again, I'm going from C to A now. So I play. I'm actually playing with my third finger here, and then I angle so my wrist is leading the way. Okay, and I'm aiming, so I'm practicing my aim as well as my glissando. Sometimes people play like this, so that with the flat fingers together, that works too. Again, you have to experiment with the angle. The angle is really important, the angle of your hand to the piano. So if you go like this, you see that I'm getting caught. That doesn't work. And if you go like that, that works okay, but I think it's unnecessary. It's better this way. Nice and smooth, and I'm not tight in any way. I'm relaxed, okay? You can do the thumb. So put your thumb and then use like this part of it. So you angle this way and you go like that. Okay, so how fast do you go between the two notes that you're playing? It really depends on how long the glissando is and how much time you have, okay? So you'll have to judge that for your specific musical situation. Okay, so that's on the white keys going up and down. Can you use the heel of your hand? Yes, you can do that. To me, that doesn't feel good. Some people like it. I don't know. You'll have to experiment. I've never really liked that. But if you like it, you can use it. So I'm using basically like the base of my thumb going up or down. I'm not a fan, but again, you might really like that. So that's on the white keys. Now let's take a look at the black keys. So the black keys obviously are raised and they're not stuck to each other, you know, not next to each other like white keys. There's gaps. So you can't press too hard. If you press too hard, you'll kind of get stuck in the keys. I like to do black key glissandos with these 3 fingers and kind of like the nail part. I just stick them together, and my angle again is going to be appropriate to what feels good to me. And I do that. Does that hurt? A little bit. I feel it, definitely feel it there. Okay, it's not like an unbearable pain, but it's not something I want to keep doing over and over. All right, so can you do your thumb? Yes, if you want to, you can. What else could you do? Could you do the back of your hand? Yeah, but that hurts a lot. So my preference, you can do 1 finger if you want, but for me that feels really weak. You can do 2 fingers. You can do 3 fingers, like I said. You can do your thumb this way. Okay, so do some experimenting. Can you use the heel? Yes, for me that gets stuck. Again, I'm not a fan of the heel of the hand, but some people really love it. All right, going down, I'm using this part again of my 2nd finger, and again I'm using my 3rd finger to kind of stick to it and make it stronger. And I get my thumb out of the way. So this is what my hand looks like when I'm playing. Can you use your thumb? Yes, but then you run a very real risk of damaging your cuticles or even ripping off your nail, because there's just too many up and down motions. I wouldn't. Now, if you want to do this, make like a chicken beak, that works, because I'm not using my thumb, I'm using my 2nd finger, but I'm using my thumb to kind of strengthen it. So I'm using this part, kind of both together. Okay? You can also do that on the white keys if you want to. Okay? You can do that. Again, you'll have to experiment. Let's experiment 1 and 3. That doesn't feel good. That hurts, and then I'm trying to figure out what do I do with my 2nd finger. So that doesn't work. 1 and 4, that makes no sense to me. So 1 and 2 can work, either white keys or black keys. All right? So do some experimenting there. If you like this video so far, please click the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. There are lots and lots of video creators on YouTube, and if you want to help my channel grow and keep me coming back to make more tutorials, then please click like, subscribe, and share my videos. Thank you. Now, left hand, you're not as likely to play glissandos with your left hand, but it's possible. So let's go down first. Here, so I'm not used to playing glissandos as much with my left hand, and it definitely hurts a little bit. So I'm using 2 and 3. And I'm playing with more of the nail part than the flesh part. So it's basically mostly nail with a little bit of flesh. And this is what my hand looks like when I'm playing. It doesn't look like a good piano technique hand, and it's not, but the thing is you're only going to use it very briefly and then you're going to relax again, right? You're not going to play like this forever. So you just do the glissando and you go down. Let's see, what else? Can you use your thumb? Yeah? Doesn't feel so good to me, but you can do it if you want. Can you use 3 fingers? Yes? You can do that. Again, I'm using mostly the nails, but I'm gluing not gluing, but like sticking the fingers together for solidarity and to make them strong. The heel of the hand, you can. Again, I'm not a fan, but if you like it, you can. This actually doesn't hurt at all, so try that. All right, now going up, I'm using this part of the second finger, just like I did in the right hand. And my hand looks like this when I'm playing. Okay, can you use like a wiping motion? Yes, you can do that. You can do it with the right hand as well. I think I forgot to show you that. So you can just kind of like you're wiping the keys. You can do that. Okay, can you do it going down? Not as successfully. I wouldn't. But coming up, yes, you can. So that works. Can you do it with just one finger? Yeah, but then it has to do more work by itself, and so it hurts more. Can you do 2 fingers? Yes, I would prefer the 3 fingers. The heel of the hand, we already talked about. To me, that feels weird. Your thumb. So I'm playing with the nail, basically. My hand looks like this. That feels good. Okay, and if you're playing a digital keyboard like this, there's going to be sounds of the keys moving up and down because they're plastic. All right, now black key glissando. So again, you don't want to hurt yourself, so you'll have to be very careful when you're doing your experiments. There's more of a chance of hurting yourself on the black keys, again, because there's a lot more up and down things that you can get stuck on. So if I'm starting on C sharp and going to this C sharp, I'm using fingers 2, 3, and 4, basically the nail part. It doesn't feel good, but it doesn't hurt. And again, I'm not going to do it over and over. Can I use my thumb? Let's see. I don't think so. Yeah, that's not going to feel good. No, that doesn't work for me. Can I use the heel of the hand? That's just silly. I mean, you can if you want to. What else? Can you go this way? Yeah, you can if you want to. For me, the best one is using the nails. They're the toughest part. Okay, so coming back up, you can wipe the keys, right? So like that, basically using the bony part, like that. Can you use your thumb? I'm hesitant. I think that would really damage me, so I'm not going to do that. Can you use the heel of your hand? Again, yes. Not my preference. So you can wipe. To me, this is the best one, the wipe. You can use also the side of your second finger. That feels good too. And what I'm doing again is I'm pressing the 3 fingers together to have a stronger base of support, like that. So that was my tutorial on the glissando. Let me know if you have any questions. Do some experimentation, see what works for you. Just make sure you don't hurt yourself and you don't hurt the piano or the keyboard that you're using. Find me on Facebook, The Piano Keys, and my private Facebook group is Piano Practice Tips, where we exchange ideas, people post videos, I comment on them, I answer questions, piano practice tips. Every once in a while, I post to Instagram, The Piano Keys TPK, and I have so many things to help you get better as a pianist on my website, thepianokeys.com. Elvis says hello. Keep practicing, have fun, and I will see you soon. Bye.